Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Graham sent me a note about an embarrassing incident for a police department. The police department announced they had a new car. 2 days later, they wrecked it. So it made the news, and we're not saying necessarily that anybody did anything wrong, but the wrecked car would indicate someone made a mistake. This is from Tasmania. Now, I'll admit Tasmania is a bit distant from many of my viewers, although I do have some viewers in Australia and that area, so I wouldn't be surprised if I got some in Tasmania. But Graham sent this. Thank you very much, from abc.net.au. Tasmania police launch new Kia Stinger highway patrol car, which crashes 2 days later. They had it 2 days. James Dunleavy and Hayden Corns wrote the story. A Tasmanian police officer was taken to the hospital after his new patrol car was involved in a crash with another vehicle on Tasmania's main highway on Friday night. 2 days after the same vehicle was used to launch a new road safety campaign. Oh, the ironing is delicious. Most Americans, our knowledge of Tasmania is limited to the cartoon, The Tasmanian Devil, which I'm pretty sure is fairly accurate from a biological standpoint, but it's another story altogether. Tasmania police showcased the new Kia Stinger highway patrol car on Wednesday on social media, but on Friday, it met its demise. Same car was involved in a crash on the Midland Highway with the driver taken to hospital. And again, they say to hospital, we might say to the hospital. Tasmania Police's Professional Standards Unit are monitoring the investigation, according to the police. They said the acting sergeant who was driving the car is in his late 50s, was flown to the Royal Hobart Hospital by helicopter and was released after being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The three occupants of the other car were not injured, so this was car-on-car violence. Police said crash investigators were conducting inquiries, and the Tasmanian Police Professional Standards Unit would monitor the investigation. Crash comes 2 days after the police publicly launched its new Kia Stinger highway patrol vehicles, which it said were adding to the wide range of high-visibility resources available for the new Road Policing Services Unit. You have to understand that in America, there are a lot of times where police departments will buy some sports cars to add to their collection, sometimes hoping they can blend into traffic a little better, or sometimes simply just in case they need to get into a high-speed chase. And so I've seen it before, and we've all heard these stories, where someone's zooming down the highway at 145 miles per hour, and they blow by a cop car with a radar gun or a laser, and the cop car happens to be a Camaro or a Mustang, and it pulls out and gives chase. Now, police cars in past years have often had things that were upgraded a little bit, brakes and sometimes performance packages and so on, but sometimes they also get them in the high-performance vehicles and do that so they can run these things down. Now, remember the old joke is that you can't outrun a two-way radio. But still, it's nice to have a fast car if you're chasing somebody. So the car involved in Friday's crash is the same car featured in the announcement from Wednesday. So they've got several cars, but they rolled one out and go, check this out. This is our new Kia Stinger police car. That was Wednesday. Friday, it's being towed to someplace to see if they can fix it. Tasmania Police Detective Inspector Rebecca Davis said early indications were that at the time of the crash on Friday, the driver of the Kia Stinger patrol car had detected a speeding vehicle that was traveling south, presumably while he was driving north. Today, we launched our brand new highway patrol vehicles, which you'll see detecting and intercepting dangerous drivers. That was posted on Wednesday. That's the actual words from the post from Wednesday. So the driver of the Kia police car slowed, turned on his emergency lights, and conducted a U-turn onto the southbound road. It apparently is at that point that another car got involved. She encouraged anyone with dash cam footage of the crash to contact police, if such things exist, through the Crime Stoppers website. The crashed car is one of 9 new Kia Stinger patrol cars working across Tasmania. On Thursday, it was announced Inspector Gary Williams had commenced in the brand new role of State Road Safety Coordinator. State Road Safety Coordinator. Inspector Williams said, we're throwing everything we can at making our roads safer, including these brand new highway patrol vehicles. We're using other resources like drones and our community evidence portal to help us track down traffic offenders. Talk to your family, talk to your friends, talk to your children about making the right choices on our roads, and make it clear that none of us should be taking risks or thinking we're above the rules. Being a good driver is irrelevant. It's time for everyone to take road safety seriously. And you know, I hate to be the old guy in the room, because I used to be a youngster myself. And in high school, I had a 69 Dodge Charger. It was bright yellow. And I got pulled over by police officers who just pulled me over because I was driving a bright car and I was a kid. And, car looked kind of fast. I got some tickets in it, I think, one or two. And over my driving career, I've gotten a few tickets, although I have not been pulled over for quite some time. And likewise, I haven't gotten a ticket in a real long time. But when I was younger, I had a few marks on my driving record. But one of the things I can tell you is in all these years I've been driving, all these years I've been representing people who've gotten tickets, all these years I've known people who do personal injury cases and auto negligence cases, I've learned so much more about road safety. And a lot of it is stuff that I look back on my younger years and say, you know, Steve, in some ways you may have gotten lucky. And I can tell you that I've been places before where I'm zooming along within the speed limit, and you come around a curve and there's a deer standing by the side of the road. Now, I don't know if we have, the same deer that you've got where you live. You might not even have deer where you live. But a deer is a rather large animal, weighs a bit, stands about yay high. And they're known for occasionally leaping, jumping, and kind of springing around. And if you startle one, for instance, it'll often spring or jump and then just ding, 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 and take off. And they're very fast animals. And the problem, of course, is that car-deer collisions are extremely common in Michigan and in many other states. And the problem, of course, is you can be the greatest driver on earth, and you're coming around a curve, and there's a deer standing in the middle of the road. Now, hopefully, he'll spring out of there, or she'll spring out of there before you make contact, but they might not. And believe it or not, this year, there have been several car moose collisions in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan where there are moose. A moose is like a deer in that it's a wild animal. It stands on four legs, and it's different from a deer because it's a lot bigger and a lot heavier. And they're also darker. And so you can be cruising along the road up there in the Hiawatha National Forest, come around a curve, and you won't even see the moose until it's pretty much about to make a collision with the front end of your car. And I'm just talking about wildlife, okay? And I've talked about this before. You can be the best driver on the road, and there's some other idiot who is going to cause trouble for you. So when people think, well, this car will do 150 miles an hour, and I've got this stretch of road here, it's perfectly straight, perfectly flat, I've driven it a million times, I could do 150 right here if I wanted to, and the only problem is that there's a cop somewhere along there with a radar gun. I'm going to take my chances. Well, that's not your only problem. That's your legal problem. But, of course, deer and moose, like I said, deer in the Lower Peninsula, moose in the Upper Peninsula. But there's other stuff that can happen. There could have been an accident on that road earlier today that they didn't clean the mess up very well. You're driving along at $150, and you run over a big old bolt, and it takes out one of your front tires. You can be a great driver, but at 150 miles per hour, when one of your front tires explodes, you might not have the wherewithal to get that under control. So that can happen. And we've also talked before about situations where people are driving along, and then someone's egging them on, quite often it's kids. And you're driving along, and you're zooming along, going faster and faster and faster, and it's at night. And you're familiar with the road pretty much, but the road does a little bit of this. And the faster you go, it doesn't make your headlights go out in front of you further. The distance your headlights work stays the same. So as you're zooming along, the ground that crosses through your headlight coverage is going through faster and faster. And pretty soon, something can be just outside of the range of your headlights. You won't see it until it gets in the range. And of course, now you've got only this amount of time to respond. And so we've heard of accidents like that. Car load of kids crashes because they came around a curve and didn't see something because how fast they were going. and they're driving faster and their headlights were appropriate for. So all kinds of bad things can happen. So this is simply my lecture about safe driving, but it sounds like one police car going this way, the one that was in the ads, and a civilian car going this way, and this police car thinks this car is speeding, so they go to do a U-turn, and they get hit by somebody. Now, we don't know if they got hit the lane they're coming out of or the lane they're going into, and them asking for dash cam suggests that there may have been other people around, or they don't even know what happened, and they're trying to get to the bottom of it. Okay, that's cool, but it's just kind of embarrassing that the police unveil the car and go, this is our new car, we're emphasizing road safety. 2 days later, it's wrecked. It's wrecked. And it might not have been the officer's fault. It might not have been. It's just one of those things where the timing was atrocious. And as I said earlier, the ironing is delicious. And by the way, I've said that before, and I had one or two people go, Steve, it's irony, not ironing. It's from The Simpsons. I apologize. So there you go. So Graham, thanks for sending it from abc.net.au. James Dunleavy and Hayden Corns wrote this. Tasmania police launched new Kia Stinger highway patrol car, which then crashes 2 days later. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. A rich man is one who has no need of wealth.